welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. It's 7:41 a.m. here in the city of Lagos on this very wet and rainy morning, and you are tuned in to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Sage Babalola, and I'm basically here to guide you through today's headlines and what is trending in the news. And as we start our morning, I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone to please drive safely. The rain can make the roads particularly hazardous, so please slow down, try and use your headlights, maintain a safe distance from other vehicles, and let's keep our community safe, okay? It's better to arrive late than not at all. So whatever you're rushing to, I can assure you it is not worth risking your safety over. The floors or the roads are slippery. It is raining. It can be difficult to see sometimes, especially for those of us who drive vehicles that are not exactly roadworthy. Now is the time to be extra careful, not even for yourself, but for the sake of other road users. I particularly don't enjoy the rain at all, but I understand on another episode of Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM, we're here Monday through to Fridays from 7:40 all the way to 8:30 a.m. We spend about 15 minutes analyzing the stories reported on the front pages of our dailies. We don't just report the stories, actually, we have conversations about them so you can understand the in-depth aspect of these stories. Headlines can be quite funny sometimes and difficult to comprehend, and that's why we accompany the headlines with some form of analysis so you can understand all the intricacies and complexities of some of these reports. Don't forget to join our online community via Facebook and on YouTube as well. Not only can you participate in all the programs that happens on the station, if you miss a program, you have an opportunity to go back on there and actually rewatch the program and also comment and interact with other people who had previously commented on said videos. We also have a buzzing social media for youthful population. Our X platform is where you want to be. But if you want to interact with people of all the demographic, or you just want to be a part of the discourse, Facebook and YouTube is definitely the place for you. This is just to tell you that we have a community for everyone regardless of their demographic. My name is Sage Babalola. Fatside will join us via the phone as we begin to analyze the papers, and I hope that you're able to pay attention so that you have all the information that you need. At some point, Mainland Focus, precisely, that's 8:40 a.m. we open the phone lines to give you an opportunity to speak on the interest and which one you'll be interested in commenting on. So please grab your umbrella if you're walking, drive.
Good morning, Sage. I'm good. How are you doing?
Me, you know how I feel anytime.
You're heavy, so it may still rain for the better part of the day. So
are you deliberately trying to make me feel used to it? I don't enjoy the smell, the petrichor in the air, and I just don't enjoy the rain at all. But I know that it is necessary since part of the seasons and what have you. But yeah, it is raining, and I was just telling people to be for the sake of other road users, most importantly, and for your own safety. There are people waiting for you at home, so please, it's raining, be very, very careful. Anyways, we have the papers here: Punch, Vanguard, and the Guardian newspaper. Quite a number of reports here. We can kick off conversations with the Punch newspaper. Don't forget that we are live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can join our live stream at Mainland 98.3 FM, and you can drop your comments. Today is Open Mic Thursday, which means that there are no restrictions to the stories you can speak about, so you can actually start commenting as we kick off conversations this morning. Well, the first story on the front page of the Punch, I would consider it something of good news, really. 800 naira per litre petrol in sight as oil price tumbles. It's actually it's an ironic situation, so to speak, and I would explain what I mean. Now, the dropping to about 800 naira per litre in the coming weeks or month, oil marketers and industry analysts said on Wednesday. This comes as Dangote Petroleum Refinery has reduced its ex-staple price for PMS to 835 naira per litre, its second downward adjustment in less than 7 days. The industry players, however, have pointed out that the 800 naira per litre price could be achieved if crude was about $65 per barrel on Wednesday, and also on that same Wednesday, 5 naira per litre. So for what, there we have it. And at the start, I said that this is something of a very difficult situation, that it costs you less to import the product. For refineries like Dangote, for example, it costs them less to import the product, and so ultimately selling less, and we're making less money. So it might be good for individual consumers, but this revenue, seen as we are not making enough crude revenue, but pump prices actually reduce. So how exactly are we supposed to celebrate this price adjustment, knowing that as much as we're buying cheaper, national revenue is doing?
If you read through the story very well, the expectations are that, look, with this Trump instability in the global economy, and the fact that there might be disruptions in the oil market, global oil market, we might see a further drop in the price of crude oil. For example, you have a situation where it's selling currently for around $55 per barrel.
Yeah.
That in itself is already giving us some headache. See, but again, our budget 2025 is March again will tell. So that in itself is a problem. So most likely to fund our budget. So that's one major headache that the government may also be talking about reduced pump price of fuel.
Yeah.
For ordinary Nigerians. Dangote refinery, for example, naira per liter or so.
835 to marketers.
835 naira per liter. So what it means is that pump prices will drop because currently higher per liter. So what it means is that we might see a further drop now in pump prices to maybe around 8. Still not our expectation. That's still not the promise that was made to Nigeria when the government was coming in. But again, it is what it is. I think Nigerians are learning it very fast. They might not really even be committed to what they are saying. It's just to sound politically correct, get people excited, give big promises here and there. But when it comes to governance, you begin to see the reality of what they have in mind when it comes to some of these things. So this time, it comes with mixed feelings for us, or mixed blessings for us as Nigerians. While we're thinking about dealing the pump level, but again, it's just a source of worry for us because again we've not done very well in diversifying our economy because of lack of commitment to opening up the Nigerian economy beyond oil.
I agree with you. Countries that depend mostly on crude export in another 30 years might have a difficult economic situation on their hands, if not even see some sort of economic shock to their polity, because as you know, the world is moving away from greenhouse emission. It's now mostly electric, solar, other source of energy. Exportation of crude is the helm of affairs. What do you do in another 30 years when people don't want crude as much as they do now?
If you look at countries, for example, like the UAE, Qatar, Syria, for example, that has been a very conservative country when it comes to Islamic values and what have been. Sorry?
Tourism as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tourism, basically tourism and trade.
Yeah.
Look, see, what comes with tourism is also trade.
Yeah.
If you can go to Dubai for tourism, but end up buying a lot of things.
Yeah, perfumes and all this stuff, yeah.
Buying clothes, So what you've done is to make Dubai the market of the Middle East. It opens it up for trade, international trade. That's what Qatar is also trying to do. It's all deliberate. And they invest heavily on quality infrastructure, public transportation system, security. Look, the news holiday, I doubt if Nigeria is going to make the list. And look, people will say, oh, some other things happen in here. They have foreign missions who also will guide them about their travel plans. So look at what Saudi is also doing. Apart from the fact that there's even a motor sports that's going to happen there, boxing, these things are deliberate. Look at how much they are paying players to come and play in their football league just to open up their culture. So what they are doing is a Saudi beyond oil, a UAE beyond oil, a Qatar beyond oil. What is the Nigeria beyond oil? What is the plan?
Well, I guess we'll leave the pump price of PMS in a few weeks or in a few months. And if you read the report further, it tells us it might actually drop to as much. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's move on to another story here. The Punch is talking to us about the Ponzi schemes, and also the update on how far the investigation has gone. With AFCC, SEC moved to dismantle Ponzi scheme. That is the headline. The body of the story: the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission, the digital asset platform SEBC. The SEC, however, revealed that it had yet to receive formal complaints about the collapsed digital asset platform, while the EFCC said of SEC, Dr. Emomotimi Agama, vowed that all the investors would get their money back. Actually, he, and I quote, Ponzi schemes did not start today. It's a global malaise. It started in the 20th century with a man called Charles Ponzi, who promised that he was going to be able to give every investor 50% in return. But the choices made by the people must be dictated and regulated by the law of the land. The SEC will continuously educate people. We have in the process of profiled even before the collapse of that platform, yes. And they've started to investigate. They will try to get as much money as they can, but they're also going to clamp down on others. I mean, he's admitting that since the 20th century, Ponzi schemes have been happening. A clampdown or a threat of a clampdown by the EFCC, is that enough to stop Ponzi schemes or discourage people?
Quick one, easy money. Ponzi schemes will never end. They will only come in different shapes and different formulas that we have still not been able to identify that they are now looking into. I've also seen some different, very funny kinds of investment that people tell people to come and do. Because some of them we find in all those nonsense. This is not different from the Ponzi scheme, but again, there's nothing you tell people they will never listen. If you understand what I'm saying. I don't know why I'm calling it cheap. So I have to go read up on the CBEX state, call it crypto banking exchange, right?
Yes.
And what was said was that, look, these guys said at the end of the month they'll be getting a 100% return on investment.
Yeah.
100% in one investment in the world, anywhere in the world, that will give you a man that has tangible investment, physical investment, things that you can say are real investment. So, but you know, they see it as if it's one magical thing that anything can happen. In fact, sometimes they present it as if you are smart about your training you yesterday. If another one starts tomorrow or today, people will not make people, think about some of these things. The EFCC, what they are just trying to do is to douse the tension in the land. It just calm down, your money will come back. Now the offices are empty. There's really no, but it's talked about Interpol. I don't know how that works. Anyway, see people are able to get their money paid. Of losing their money. Some people put out as much as $20,000.
Investing in millions, hoping that they will get 100% on their investment. Apparently, there were some people who actually made money back, but then they put their profit back.
No, at the early stage, that will happen.
Trading a time or trading duration, and then they just lost everything at the end of the day. But there's some that made little money at the start. It's really how they're able to handle that. The SEC has a lot of nip it in the bud. Don't even give them an opportunity to thrive to the point where they're able to rip people off their hard-earned money or educate people as well on why it doesn't make any sense. There's no business individual that investments return on your investment. That's already a red flag. And well, like Fad said, our heart goes out to all of those that have lost their money, and we hope that they make better decisions moving forward. This is still trends in the papers on Milan 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. I'm Sage Babalola and I have Fuad Side here with me. We're reviewing the Punch newspaper. Let's move on to politics, Fuad. The Punch tells us 2027 coalition to unseat Tinubu gaining ground, says Atiku. Now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has reiterated the commitment of the coalition he's putting together to adopt a strong platform to oust President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 election, who paid him a courtesy visit in Abuja on Wednesday on his verified X handle for good governance. And Atiku's position is coming on the heels of the insistence by Jin partners. This is the position of the former Vice President Fuad Side. Mind you, PDP governors are saying that we're not going to join any other political. I don't know what they mean by that. But then they say, well, we know that saying that President Tinubu will complete his 8 years. And, he's very confident. Oust this administration in 2027 is still forging ahead. What are your thoughts, Fuad? He said this coalition is still on the right path.
Well, I don't know. The way politicians think, they see. And the people they surround them, the people are with you. So how they do their calculations, their computations, I don't know. Almost we can always wish Alhaji Atiku Abubakar well. This is new coalition movement that can happen to shake up the political space and give the APC, and it's always been around them, an old war horse when it comes to politics and the political space in Nigeria. But again, my mind tells me, I'll tell you on the media on the wall, the governors have taken a position, the 11 governors who took a position that they are not interested in any coalition. I think I've sent a direct message to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar special ticket as against whatever arrangement we have and all of that. Of the PDP, in the last election, to retain or zone the leadership of the party to the south. Because again, they are thought that, look, if Muhammadu Buhari cannot have finished 8 years as a northerner, how reason to prevail on that basis and allow the ticket of the party to remain in the south. But again, the leadership of the party, what Governor Shemakinde is saying, they also expected that he was going to come up with a ticket that will unify the party. The only thing at this time that will unify the party, that will bring peace back to the party. But that the people surrounding Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said, although I feel that the PDP ticket became more problematic when Obi decided to leave the PDP and join the Labour Party. But the factor of Wike is not there. And I told Okoyemi yesterday, if Alhaji telling you, if the politicians that I see around him, they no coalition thing, they didn't fight, and I'm sure he has the money to spend. How far that will go, where to take him to, we'll have to wait to see.
Well, he says that...
Then leave the people. You know, yesterday to Shema said to be against the people. What are the people got? Where are we? Where are the people in the conversation really? So it's not about, they should not deceive people with all these people talk. It's about their own political interest. So
Yes, and I quote, Nigeria is in full-blown state of emergency. I had to segue to the Vanguard newspaper just to harmonize the report. Former Vancy, the 2023 presidential candidate, also asked when the president will declare a state of emergency on his own disastrous presidency. Again, something of a memo, and I'll read in parts what was said because it's a rather lengthy memo. He says, had this absurd and another insult to a nation pushed to the brink by the presidency that treat its citizens like fools, the official is cool. But even if it is not a medical tourism, what justification is there for gallivanting across Europe while Nigeria bleeds? What kind of leader borrows billions only to blow scarce funds on vanity trips? He will have raked up a staggering 59 days in France since assuming office. See Paris and die? No. See a shred of empathy. He will cut his trip short and return immediately. A leader with an ounce of patriotism would not need to be begged to show up in time of crisis. The Constitution says there's absolutely nothing Tinubu is doing in France that he would not be in Lagos or do in Iragbiji. The so-called working visit is nothing drive home here. They're not buying the whole working visit to France, and they're also highlighting the fact that fearfully security challenges with hundreds of people being recorded killed on almost a weekly basis. What are your thoughts? Do you think that these are very crude positions to take, or you think they're well within their rights to make these comments?
You can't fault this position. It's difficult to fault what Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has put out. He called it a dereliction of duty. I agree. Now, the presidency has told us that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on a 2 weeks working visit, right?
Yeah.
Means he's still doing his work.
Yeah.
Every other work is useless. You cannot guarantee that. Every other thing, economy, infrastructure, it consists of the people. Every other work is secondary. So if it is true that the president is on a working visit in France, the real work is now available, is now here at home for him to come and, see as far as I'm concerned, he cannot attend to this one. This is the most important work of any president. Look, say we see president, the one that happens through natural disaster. You see president cutting down the official visit, cutting it short to quickly go and show some solidarity with the people. It is time for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to return home to attend to these things. See, remember that he did not hand over to anybody. He is not responsible for anything now, because when he was traveling, he was called a working visit, which means he was still in charge.
Yeah.
And that's why we always call for full disclosure. We call for the guys, I think the country is on autopilot now. See, who is in charge? Who is taking the decisions now? The problem that we have on ground. You could see that the governor, the best he could do is also to address his people, making promises that work. In the papers today, communities are still being attacked in Benue State.
Yes.
Again, it's reported in the papers today. Thousands of people are already being killed again. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has put out through Police, his spokesperson. It's difficult for anybody to fault it. This is a clear dereliction of guilt on the part of the president. And like I said, if truly he's walking the road, and people are not alive to use the road, then the road becomes completely useless. If you grow the economy, bring in investors, which investor will even come with this kind of report? The killings all around. You are talking about the kind of imagine this crisis. So, we're hoping that, and the reality we have on ground, it is showing that, look, on all fronts, submit their mandate to them to come and be telling us what the problem is. They promised to fix the problem. And if you look at the response of the government, the presidency, to different crises and conflict in different parts, the safety of the people, all the response, the concerted effort that was given to the rivers matter, which is just a purely political matter, has been fortunate.
Unfortunate indeed. Well, since we're talking about insecurity, let's move to this headline here on the front page of the Punch. Hundreds of Boko Haram suspects arrested in Lagos, says the CJT.
In Lagos,
yeah, that's what the report says. Hundreds of suspected made the revelation on Wednesday while speaking at an award ceremony in Lagos, where he highlighted the CJTF's ongoing effort to prevent the infiltration of Boko Haram insurgents and bandits fleeing the north into Lagos. He says, and I quote, "If TF monitors trailer parks, quarries, checks truck pushes, because we understand the channels through which they enter Lagos. Our people must remain vigilant." Of quote. For the report is the question.
That news is for the meeting leaders, even landlords too, CBAs too. Again, but while we are doing that, while we are calling for vigilance, we are not also calling for people begin to stereotype and profile every ethnic group of northern extraction as terrorists or Boko Haram. No. Let's also ensure that our community leaders, traditional leaders, look, again, because the governor is considered, for me, it's scary if we are being told that, look, it's quite a number of Boko Haram, members have already been arrested in parts of Lagos, and they keep coming in, so that can help keep Lagos safe. It's a state that is relatively safe, safer than other states anyway, but more still needs to be done so that we are not caught, napping. We are not caught unaware. Some of these things can happen.
Reps panel summon Ibas. Before we get into the story, if you're just joining the program, we welcome you. Don't forget to join us, Papalola, and I'm having conversations here with Fᴜʟʟ as we review the dailies. Now, to the body of the story, to the streets to demand the reversal of the emergency rule imposed by President Tinubu and the subsequent suspension of the governor, Siminala, emergency rule and the appointment of a sole administrator as illegal actions. Meanwhile, on the same day, the House 48 in Abuja on Thursday, April 17, following the declaration of emergency rule in Section 11 of the Constitution, has resolved to take over the legislative function of the society. These are women groups, so we really don't understand why this is happening, but it is happening. And so the House of Representatives have also summoned a mention that was spreading, I think 2 days ago, that Ibas had summoned the suspended governor and his deputy, but then they put out a statement saying that particular report was false. The sole administrator did not at any point explain to them the metrics they use in selecting officials within government. But like I said, they put out a memo that initial sole administrator, as women group across River State continue to protest the situation, and some are showing solidarity for the emergency rule. What?
Well, groups can continue to protest. I'm sure politicians don't take process seriously because they know how they do it. Whether it is for or against, they know how they mobilize these people. So even when you have a genuine protest, when you have genuine people protesting, people think that something must have happened. Maybe somebody is sponsoring them somewhere. Because again, a lot of the protests, but again, we're seeing this protest probably will continue till the end of the tenure of this sole administrator. Like you also rightly pointed out, he has debunked that news of him summoning the governor and the deputy governor to answer questions. Big one, but the administrator said that there was not to take charge of legislative functions in River State. Has now summoned through the state of emergency declaration by the president. They amended that declaration to say that, look, a committee will be set up by the national political crisis, political controversy that would have been avoided completely. If, for example, politicians in River State have behaved themselves, tilting to one side more than the other, because again, the intervention of the president was purely political, and it was an out there, and I think it's just what it is. So you have a Fᴜʟʟ on the other side who has gone into some form of alliance in this crisis. Governance is suffering in River State. The sole administrator has really not been able to achieve anything. He will be monitoring development since he was appointed. Have you seen him make any declaration secure? Has immersed himself in different political debt? Is the man that is tracking people who have been appointed? He has gone into the River State Independent Electoral Commission to start that. He's even thinking of conducting a local government election Here you see. But again, this is
Right, thank you very much for rounding off on the trends in the papers. Census. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday inaugurated a high-level comment. Inaugurating the special panel, the president has stressed the pivotal role of technology-driven process in ensuring the insecurity, the general apathy to civic undertakings, as well that stakes and permutations to put together the figures, because nobody would want to go there and actually actively participate in the headcount process. And so all of these tiny metrics and tiny factors might influence the outcome of this census. And why do you think that we are
last census that was conducted in different parts of the country has not gotten to this level? In fact, I was you remember the former governor of Taraba State that died? So that Babasonte, that is to move around without any fear of kidnapping, insecurity, anybody doing anything to them. You can't. There are limitations to how you can deploy technology. You still have to send people to the field to enumerate. Take count of people, and the environment is not conducive enough. It's not safe enough for us to do a proper census. Even when things were not as bad, we were not even able to do a proper thing. Figures were, inflated. All manner of things happened. Like I said, I was actively involved, and we saw a lot of the. Wait to see how they are able to effectively. But I think the situation on ground, the situation of the country, cannot give us a proper census. We are not going to be able to do.
The United States is cancelling student visas. Now, the fraction, traffic violation, they pick you up and then they threaten you with deportation. And mind you, there's some students that are just days away from their graduate at that point, and hundreds of them are now facing deportation, and they might likely...
strange things happening in the U.S. at this time. Nobody seems to be safe. Citizens can even now be deported. I'm telling you. The president said he's considering it. He's looking at the legal way. So if you have a criminal, even if you are a citizen, they can take you to El Salvador. So for students who are, I think in the U.S. now, sending opinion, you should be careful what you put on social media, because everybody is now being checked down. It's not your right. And the profiling is intense at this time, so people just have to be careful.
They can pick you up anywhere, as opposed to how it was before. Formal, it's very, very sad. Well, let's hope that Nigerians, then your degree, your visa is revoked. For a commercial, we'll be back at 8:40 for mainland.